The Dutch have mastered at times, perfected, and revolutionized the game of soccer, but they still don't have that one big trophy for it. The Netherlands are still sadly the best and most successful country to have never won a World Cup. Will 2026 finally be their time? Welcome to Kickback Soccer Media's World Cup Capsules, where we'll learn everything you need to know about all 48 of the national teams competing at the 2026 World Cup. From the history of the game, the nation's current World Cup trajectory, unsung heroes, and cultural moments. I'm David Goss, and today we're talking about the Dutch. The face of the Dutch national team is Captain Virgil van Dijk, a towering center back who also captains Liverpool. Van Dijk's widely considered one of the best defenders of all time. Known for his aerial ability, physical dominance, composure, and leadership, he is the one that keeps the Netherlands on track and on task. Behind him is a mix of youth and veteran, guys like Memphis Depay, Matthijs de Ligt, Frenkie de Jong, and Cody Gakpo. Like we said, though, the Netherlands are always the bridesmaid. They finished runner-up in 3 World Cup finals, and they have been to 5 semifinals. They've never really done anything wrong. No big implosions, no bottling it at the end, no tragic, painful loss. They play well. They play at a high level. They just can't get their hands on the trophy at the end. Soccer was introduced to the Netherlands by Pim Mulier, a leading sports figure in the country. In 1879, at the age of 14, he founded Harmelash Football Club. What were you doing at 14? Over the next 30 years, football gained popularity in the Netherlands, and in the late 1890s and early 1900s, it saw the foundation of many new clubs, like Sparta Rotterdam, AFC Ajax, Feyenoord Rotterdam, and PSV Eindhoven. The Dutch Football Association, the KNVB, was founded in 1889 and was a founding member of FIFA in 1904. The national team started playing in the following year. The Netherlands were a constant participant in the Olympics, the highest level of competition in the early days. They achieved the bronze medal in 1908, 1912, and 1920. Again, always the bridesmaid. And they came in 4th place in 1928 on home soil. Professional football was introduced in 1954, and the first pro game was played that year between Alkmaar 54 and SC Venlo. But the really good stuff doesn't start until the 1970s, when a guy named Johan Cruyff and a style unlike anything the world had ever seen changed everything. During the 1970s, the team adopted the total football, otherwise said total voetbal, strategy pioneered by Ajax and led by playmaker Johan Cruyff and national team head coach Rinus Michels. The concept relies on versatility and fluidity, where any outfield player can take over another player's position, creating constant movement, space, and attacking threats. Total football propelled the Dutch national team to 2 World Cup finals back-to-back that decade. In 1974, the Netherlands lost 2-1 to Germany in the final, despite having gone up 1-0 in the 2nd minute on a Johan Neskens penalty kick. They ended up falling to their bitter rivals. In 1978, Johan Cruyff chose not to participate in the competition. He did so after a kidnapping attempt targeting him and his family back in Europe leading up to the tournament. That wasn't known at the time and only became known in the late 2010s. At the time, they made it all the way to the final against host Argentina. After a controversial start to the match, with Argentina questioning the plaster cast on René van der Kolk's wrist, the match headed to extra time where the Netherlands eventually lost 3-1. They wouldn't reach a final again till 2010, but Total Football had a lasting legacy on the game. Managers like Pep Guardiola, Louis van Gaal, Mikel Arteta, and Xavi have all adopted the philosophy and elements like comfort and bravery on the ball, and the ability to take the ball in any position on the field for every single player that are so important today. In 2010, it was another memorable tournament run, where yet again, the Dutch national team came close but couldn't finish the job. After topping Group E, they knocked off Slovakia, Brazil, and Uruguay before facing Spain in the final. It took 116 minutes before Andres Iniesta's strike gave Spain its first World Cup win ever. You could argue that this was a bit of a golden generation for the Dutch, with players like Arjen Robben, Wesley Sneijder, Robin van Persie, Giovanni van Bronckhorst ending up going to back-to-back World Cup semifinals. The Dutch got revenge 4 years later in the World Cup in Brazil, where they were drawn into Spain's group and crushed the defending champions 5-1. It also gave birth to the legendary diving Robin van Persie meme for his incredible diving header goal. That tournament was also known for their quarterfinal win over Costa Rica. Backup goalkeeper Tim Krul was brought on just before the end of extra time and made 2 saves in the shootout, thanks in part to some of his antics. But they couldn't repeat that success in the semifinals against Argentina, where the Netherlands were eliminated 4-2 on penalties. They did win the third-place match against host Brazil, though, its first ever at a World Cup. Hopes were high in 2022 when legendary Dutch manager Louis van Gaal came out of retirement for a third spell, his farewell to the game. Despite suffering from prostate cancer, he hid his health struggles from the team in the build-up to the World Cup, even attending training with a catheter in at times. The Netherlands topped their group with 7 points, then beat the US 3-1 in the round of 16. In the quarterfinal, they faced eventual champions Argentina. Nahuel Molina and Messi scored for Argentina before Wout Weghorst equalized with 2 goals shortly before the end of the game. The match went to extra time and then penalties, where Argentina would go on to win 4-3. This match was dubbed the Battle of Lusail. Spanish referee Antonio Mateu Lahoz issued a FIFA World Cup record 18 yellow cards and 1 red card. He set a new record for cautions at any FIFA-administered international tournament. You know how hard that is? That's like 100+ years of players and coaches acting poorly on fields. Argentina players were seen gloating to the Netherlands side immediately after Lautaro Martinez scored the winning penalty, with Nicolas Otamendi mimicking Messi's earlier gesture by cupping his hands around his ears while running in front of the Dutch players. Otamendi would explain that their reaction was in retaliation to the Netherlands players trying intimidation tactics during the penalty shootout. Several Dutch players responded to the Argentine celebrations by engaging in another physical altercation where the referee sent off Dumfries for a second yellow card. Messi exchanged heated words with Netherlands manager Louis van Gaal after the final whistle. As Emiliano Martinez left the pitch, he shouted obscenities towards Van Gaal and the Netherlands bench. This was so intense that Dumfries, 3 years later, re-upped the fight against Marcos Acuna at the Club World Cup in the United States when Inter faced off against River Plate. At some point as the game headed towards halftime, the two players turned to each other and said, "I'll see you in the locker room," and sprinted to the tunnel just so that they could resume their fight. Despite so many moments where they fell short, the Netherlands did get their hands on one piece of major hardware: the 1988 European Championship in West Germany. Rinus Michels returned with his technical assistant Noel de Ruyter to coach the team. They lost the first game to the Soviet Union, but won 3-1 against England thanks to a Marco van Basten hat trick. They then beat the Republic of Ireland 1-0 to make it to the semis. There, they beat hosts and rivals West Germany 2-1, with the leveler coming from Ronald Koeman and the winner from Marco van Basten in the 88th minute. In the final, they defeated the Soviet Union 2-0 this time, with goals from Ruud Gullit and an all-time great volley from Van Basten, who ended up finishing as Golden Boot winner on 5 goals. The players from that squad went on to do great things. Frank Rijkaard coached Barcelona. He brought Ronaldinho in. He built Messi up into his professional level. Van Basten won 3 Ballon d'Ors in 1988, 89, and 92, and went on to manage the Dutch national team himself. In this road of qualifying, the Netherlands went undefeated and topped their group. They scored 27 goals and only conceded 4. In April of 2022, Ronald Koeman took over for the retiring Van Gaal, and he led the Dutch to the semifinals of the 2024 Euros. Koeman has at times been criticized for his boring and uninspiring style, is what people say. While the Dutch have not been the most beautiful, they have been fairly efficient under him. Koeman usually opts for a variation of a 4-3-3. Sometimes it can look like a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-1-2-3. For most of their history, the Netherlands have been a producer of top talent, and it's no different right now. Most of the Dutch squad are early into their prime years, but Koeman still relies on some experienced players like Nathan Aki, Virgil van Dijk, and Memphis Depay. But the new generation of Dutch players are ready to make a name for themselves. Many have made big club moves in recent years and are on the verge of becoming stars, like Xavi Simons, Ryan Gravenberch, and Jurriën Timber. Xavi Simons, a 22-year-old attacking midfielder and winger currently playing for Tottenham, is the biggest prospect of them all. Originally a product of Barca's famed La Masia, Simons has been an online phenom since he was 13 years old. 6 years later, he signed for PSG, where he made his pro debut. But he found his feet on the pro ranks with PSV and eventually shined with RB Leipzig. In the summer of 2025, Simons signed with Tottenham for a fee believed to be around £52 million. The transfer was noteworthy due to Simons' decision to sign for Tottenham in spite of a well-documented interest from their London rivals Chelsea, who had courted him through that summer. But things have not gone great for Simons at Tottenham, and while the season is still young, he's still finding his feet. Simons represented the Netherlands at the U15, 16, 17, 19, and 21 levels. He was called up to the 2022 World Cup, the youngest player in the Dutch squad. He was described as somewhat of a surprise inclusion at the time. He made his Netherlands and World Cup debut in a 3-1 win over the United States in the round of 16. He became the youngest player to feature in the knockout stages of the World Cup for the Netherlands. He's been an important piece for Koeman, playing 32 matches and scoring 6 goals. And you cannot talk about the Netherlands without talking about Cruyff. Regarded as one of the greatest players in history, and as the greatest Dutch footballer ever, he won the Ballon d'Or 3 times, in 1971, 73, and 74. At club level, Cruyff started his career at Ajax. He went on to win 8 Eredivisie titles, 3 European Cups, and 1 Intercontinental Cup, where he had a goal and 2 assists. In 329 matches for Ajax, he scored 257 goals and provided another 170 assists. In 1973, Cruyff moved to Barcelona, a club he would become synonymous with, both as a player and as a legendary manager. He ended up moving for a world record transfer fee, helping the team win La Liga in his first season and winning the Ballon d'Or. In 180 official matches for Barcelona, he scored 60 goals and provided 83 assists. He also managed them to a European Cup, 4 La Liga championships, 1 Cup Winners' Cup, a Copa del Rey, and 4 Supercopa de Españas later in the 1980s and 90s. Cruyff briefly retired from playing in 1978, but after losing most of his money in a series of poor investments, including, I kid you not, a pig farm that were counseled by a scam artist, Cruyff and his family moved to the United States. As he recalled, I had lost millions in pig farming, and that was the reason I decided to become a footballer again. Cruyff insisted that his decision to resume his playing career in the United States was pivotal in his life. Quote, "It was a mistake to quit playing at 31 with the unique talent I possessed." And adding that starting from zero in America, many miles away from my past, was one of the best decisions I made. There, I learned how to develop my uncontrolled ambitions, to think as a coach, and about sponsorship. In May 1979, Cruyff signed a lucrative deal with the Los Angeles Aztecs of the NASL. He stayed at the Aztecs for only 1 season and was voted NASL Player of the Year. The next year, he moved to play for the Washington Diplomats. After just a year there, he had stints still with Levante, Ajax, and Feyenoord before retiring to become the highly successful manager at Ajax and later Barcelona that we discussed. He remained an advisor to both clubs after his coaching tenure. you've got to be pretty good to get a move named after you. And the Cruyff turn is a dribbling trick that was perfected and invented by Cruyff. The trick was famously employed by Cruyff during the 1974 World Cup. If you see a player with all their momentum going one way, using the inside of their foot to drag the ball back behind their standing leg and cut back in the other direction, that is a Cruyff turn. The Netherlands' orange kick is iconic in world soccer, and it stands out almost more than any other kit. In addition, their fans are known to take over cities prior to matches with chants and songs. There will be a sea of orange all across the United States when they play in 2026. The Dutch were drawn into Group F with Japan, Tunisia, and a yet-to-be-determined European team. That Netherlands-Japan game will be a tasty group stage match, but they should have no problem advancing into the knockout rounds. We love to leave you with a fun fact about every country we do this about, and for the Netherlands, there's a lot you could go with. But of course, we had to go bicycles. With 22 million bikes for a population of 17 million people, there are more bikes than people in the nation of the Netherlands. All right. Well, that's all for us here. But reminder, we are doing one of these episodes for every single nation that has qualified for the 2026 World Cup. So go into the podcast feed and you can listen to all of them at your leisure.